that hadn't been brought by BAA as part of its plans to build a second runway.
But tonight, the pub at Molehill Green near Stansted is the latest building to fall under the airport's ownership. Our Essex reporter Lorna Ramsey has the story.
If you want to enjoy a quiet drink in the garden at the Three Horseshoes, think again. Every few minutes there's a reminder of its proximity to Stansted Airport. And over the years, it's become a focal point for campaigns by Stop Stansted Expansion. But now it's owned by the company those protests were pitched at, BAA. The landlord says it's been difficult trading under the threat of a second runway.
It's awful. Your business is totally blighted. So if you actually went to the bank and wanted to borrow some money to do something with the pub, then they just laugh at you. But, you know, there is a future for the pub. An even better future for the pub now that it's a free house, and we've got BAA as a landlord.
From where the airport stands, the Three Horseshoes is just a short hop eastwards. The pub and the village of Molehill Green lies right in the path of the proposed second runway. But many members of the local community, including Stop Stansted Expansion, believe the runway will not be built.
And we really do feel now that we will not see a second runway. It will change, the white paper will be reviewed. We do feel a strong feeling that it will be thrown out, and then hopefully the houses will be bought back and we can get on with our lives.
An inquiry into the second runway has been delayed until next year. It was put back after the Competition Commission criticised BAA for owning too many airports. BAA says that it understands that this is a personal and sensitive issue to many people who live close to the airport, but it says that all properties under its ownership are maintained to a high standard. BAA also pointed out that any properties that aren't required for a second runway will be sold back to private owners. If the second runway does go ahead and the pub has to be demolished, there are plans to rebuild it just down the road. But people here are just hoping it doesn't come to that, so it can stay where it stood for hundreds of years. Lorna Ramsey, Anglia News, Molehill Green.
Police are searching for a 13-year-old girl thought to have gone missing with a man from Essex she met over the internet. Tegan Feekins was last seen by her mother in Torquay in Devon on Friday evening. Police believe she's in the company of 22-year-old James Spencer Grenfell from Braintree. He's thought to have met Tegan over the internet and travelled to Torbay to meet her.
Well, stay with us this Monday evening.
Reaction to the weekend's football action on the way and loads.
More news now, and a man's been charged with murder after a 23-year-old man was stabbed to death in Sudbury on Saturday. The victim has been named as Lewis Watson, who was taken to the West Suffolk Hospital where he died. 26-year-old Andrew Rowlands from the Croft in Sudbury appeared before Bury St Edmunds magistrates this morning. He was remanded in custody to appear at Ipswich Crown Court next month.
5 anti-nuclear protesters have gone on trial in Lowestoft, charged with aggravated trespass following a blockade of Sizewell nuclear power station in July last year. The group say they were protesting at government plans for new nuclear power stations. The trial is scheduled to last 4 days.
A woman from Suffolk has made it to the last 6 of a competition to design a garden for the new Olympic Park in London.
And Emma Graham from Shotley Gate is not only thrilled at the chance to showcase her work in 2012, but also to continue her family's link with the Games, as Victoria Webb now explains.
Nestled in the Suffolk countryside, the owner of this garden is hoping she may be chosen to create a legacy. After hearing of a competition to design a garden for the 2012 Olympics, Emma Graham put pen to paper and couldn't believe it when she was shortlisted.
I never even thought it would actually get anywhere. Using the ideas of the Olympic rings, the flame, the gold, silver and bronze, and the Olympic motto, which translates as faster, higher, stronger. Just trying to keep it very traditional with English rose arbour, heathers and things to represent Scotland.
What makes the prospect of winning even more special is that Emma's great-grandfather, Arthur Robson, won gold in the 3-mile team race in the 1908 Olympics held in London. This was his medal for taking part. Emma's hoping that when voting begins on the Royal Horticultural Society website later this week, that her design proves popular with the public.
Inspired by her family, who are all keen gardeners, and also from being taken around the RHS gardens as a little girl, Emma's created a very peaceful garden in Shotley Gate to relax in.
This competition would see the winners' work admired by thousands of people during the 2012 Games, but would continue to be part of the Olympic Park.
It's a family thing. It's remembering my great-grandfather, what he did in the Olympics and the British team then, and just linking it all in with gardening, which is such a British thing to do, alongside the Olympics, being part of the Olympic Park. It would just be fantastic.
The two winners will be announced next month, and if Emma's successful, she'll be off to London to help put her ideas into practice. Victoria Webb, Anglia News, Shotley Gate.
And what could be a great family tradition?
Meanwhile, work's finally begun to renovate Norwich's memorial gardens. The Grade 2 listed gardens had to be closed to the public almost 5 years ago after they were found to be structurally unsafe. Today, construction work started that's expected to finish in 2011. The revamp will cost £2.5 million and will involve turning the memorial so it faces City Hall.
So many people, both here in this country and abroad, are requesting to come on here. It obviously has great significance to anybody in the military because it is a garden of remembrance. You know, people need to get to this area, and it's an area of reflection. So, yes, it's very good to be here.
On to football now, and pressure is mounting on Ipswich manager Roy Keane after his side's winless start to the season continued with a 4-0 drubbing at home by Newcastle.
Ipswich remain second from bottom of the Championship after their latest setback, but there wasn't too much success for any of our other clubs over the weekend, as Donovan Blake now reports.
While the pomp, ceremony and adulation for Ipswich's most celebrated manager subsides, the pressure on their current boss continues to grow. Roy Keane wants everyone to judge him over a season, but now the manager's hot seat must be pretty uncomfortable, with Ipswich making their worst ever start to a league campaign.
Since I've been in football, clubs I've been involved in, I think I've always brought something to the football clubs. At this moment, I've not brought anything to Ipswich.
Saturday at Portman Road was dominated by events to honour Sir Bobby Robson, who was revered mostly by the fans of Newcastle and Ipswich. His widow, Lady Elsie, flanked by two of their sons, did the honours as the North Stand was renamed the Sir Bobby Robson Stand at half-time. A win would have made it the perfect day for Ipswich supporters, but that didn't happen. Newcastle was simply too good. Kevin Nolan, the headline maker, with a hat-trick. The home side simply not good enough. And Keane still questioning his own abilities as a manager.
They can boo me all they want, but at least I think they are certainly backing the players. And that's encouraging, because as much as we're coming up, I keep saying, and I don't apologise for repeating, we're coming up short in both boxes. The players are trying.
It wasn't a great day for the rest of the region's league managers either. Darren Ferguson watched his Peterborough side lose at Blackpool after conceding twice in the first 11 minutes. Colchester's Adi Boothroyd was thankful his team hit back quickly after trailing at Tranmere. They drew 1-1 thanks to John O'Toole. Norwich also drew 1-1, but Paul Lambert saw goalkeeper Fraser Forster get sent off at Gillingham. Declan Rudd replaced him on Saturday and was in the thick of things when City equalised deep in stoppage time through Darrow Russell. And Southend boss Steve Tilson endured his first home defeat of the season as Oldham won 1-0 with a second-half penalty. So no wins this weekend, and still no league win for Ipswich and Roy Keane this season. The sequence is 9 games. How many more will it take for the run to end, or for things to change? Donovan Blake, Anglia News, Ipswich.
That's one unhappy man at the moment.
And in cricket, Essex are celebrating their return to the top flight. Essex secured promotion to Division 1 of the County Championship with a dramatic 5-wicket win against Derbyshire on Saturday. And captain Mark Patini says for a team that dominated the county scene through the 80s, it's long overdue.
Everyone's been aware they've probably been in Division 2 for too long now, as players desperate to play in the First Division. Obviously, a lot of the teams that are in Division 1 make a point of saying how much of a difference there is between the two divisions. So the guys are really over the moon. I think the club's also really happy to be up there.
Well, staying in Chelmsford, and the new Salvation Army Centre there has been named as the East of England's Building of the Year by the Royal Institute of British Architects. The building on Parkway was designed by Hudson Architects from Norwich, and they picked up their award at a ceremony last night.